Is a coming together of the South African and American wine industries. Zelma and her husband Phil represent the American side of the partnership. They have been involved in the Californian wine industry for some time and have a vast depth of knowledge when it comes to making wines in California, but also making wines around the world. Zelma consults in a number of countries to some of the top wineries in the world. Zelma's husband Phil is a viticulturalist. He prefers to call himself a wine grower in the sense that he likes to know what kind of wine you're going to make before he plants the vines. And in case that sounds goofy, I mean, he really does it. He's really incredible. So Zelma makes the wine, Phil grows the grapes, and then I sell the wine, do the marketing, and run the business. And so that's the division of labor. Vilafonte is the first joint venture between South Africa and America, and it's a project that's really, the joint venture part of it's really been going for about 5 years. We're in our 6th year now, but actually the vineyards were planted in 1997 and 1998, so the vineyards are now 10 and 11 years old. We do have younger plantings, which are not yet coming on stream, but we have an ongoing planting program. Tonight, we're going to show you our vast range, which is entirely 2 wines. It is exactly 1 more than was originally planned, but it is exactly what we're going to be sticking with for the foreseeable future. So there's going to be no change. I'm not going to tell you about the wines right now, but I will, at the end of the tasting, perhaps do a little bit of a wrap-up about the positioning of the wines, where we're selling them, and what our objective is. I think before we move forward, I'd just like to say to you that I believe, and I know that a lot of people wish that South Africa had greater offering at the high end. We do have a lot of fantastic wines in South Africa, but there doesn't seem to be enough people making an impact out there. And certainly we're the young kids on the block, and our goal in 20 years, maybe less, is to make that impact. But if you look at the major wine producing countries in the world, there's always a winery or a group of 5 wineries that are making that impact. They're producing unbelievable wines, generally expensive, but what's very important is that they're making good quantities of it. In this country we have spectacular wines, unbelievable quality, and certainly the prices are getting up there, but they're generally small little boutique garagiste efforts. And if you compare wineries like Grange for Australia, like Opus in California, like some of the first growths, none of them are producing less than 30 or 40,000 cases, and that's at 12. So in this country, the challenge, and certainly
about it. And I was enthusiastic back in 1990, so I was invited back to judge for South African Airways several times, and my husband Phil started consulting. He consulted for Klein Constantia, and for Warwick, and for Rustenburg, and to Epsop, and for Lima, and to Clara. So we got to know quite a bit about the industry. And we were approached in 1997 by an individual who had 100 acres of land just below Glencarlu on the Carl side of the Simonsburg. And he wanted to know if we would like to invest in that land and plant it. So we did. We would like to. And we did do that. So the wines you're tasting tonight are really the result of a long time. It's been 10 years of effort and thought to put in the right kind of vineyard, to grow the right kind of grapes, to make really fine wines from that site. And our focus is all on the site. We only grow 4 varietals. There are Bordeaux varietals: Cab, Cab Franc, Merlot, and Malbec. We plant them in 1 hectare size blocks mostly, and keep each of those separate through the fermentation and aging. We focus on each block like a person. What's the best way to really work with this block from a viticultural point of view to get it to perform the best? What's the best way to make that wine when those grapes come in? And then they're blended into these 2 wines, which represent 2 different styles of wine from the vineyard. We have Cabernet in that vineyard, and some blocks that makes this very pretty, fruity style of Cabernet, and in other blocks that makes a real powerhouse, which is what we've got fermenting now. And so it just seemed that there were two rivers styles coming out of this site. So I recommended that we make two different styles instead of trying to do a first wine and a second wine. I hate second wines. Never want to make one. Only really want to make the best. So this is our reflection of our site. And the Vilafonte name is one of the soils in the vineyard. That's the tone of what we're doing. We're here about 4 months a year. We come about 3 times a year in this harvest period.